The first time that we called the OCYA, we were wanting to maintain connection with our two youngest brothers who were going to be adopted, and we felt like our voices were not heard.
We have 12 siblings, and I think just with that we just have such a strong bond together that it didn't matter where we went as long as we were there as a family. That's all that mattered.
And that's where Sandra stepped in, and she's just been absolutely incredible.
I can remember walking into this house with this big table with all these chairs. I knew I wanted to make sure I heard everybody to ensure that they all had something, that if they had something to say, they got to say it and how they wanted to say it. Individual advocacy is supporting young people who receive services from the Ministry or Youth Justice in order to resolve concerns that they have. They may not be being heard. They may not feel that their rights are being upheld. And so as an advocate, we come along and support them and stand up for them.
She just listened. And before that we'd been told, like, this is what's happening, and Sandra came in and she asked us, so what would you like to see happen? What are your goals? And that was incredible to us, because before that, we felt like our voices really didn't matter.
Things weren't going well at home for them, and they would come and tell us, and we would make the calls, and then after some time they took the children out, and they were going to be separated. And my husband and I had no children, and it was kind of like when they all walked in, it was so sweet. And once they were there for 2 weeks, they weren't going anywhere. No way.
I mean, if you think about young people coming into care, for example, and they may have siblings who they have lived through some very difficult times with, and they may be separated, and they don't have a say in whether that or not that happens or how that happens. That's critically important. That's a good example of where we see advocacy as being an important measure to take so that young people are heard. One of the key ingredients is to recognize that young people have a voice and that they have the right to be heard and the right to have their viewpoints considered. When we think about that and we create space for that to happen, there's kind of like two things that come to my mind very readily, and that is accommodation and space. So to accommodate what a young person is hopeful to have happen in their life and to hear what they have to say, but also to create the space for them to feel comfortable to say it, to have the kind of relationship that enables them to feel safe to say some things that might be very difficult for them to say. Those two things are critically important, and anybody can do that. It's not something that takes a specific set of skills that are specialized. Anybody with an interest and who cares about young people can in fact create that accommodation and space.
I remember Sandra came in and she had pamphlets of rights that children have. I remember thinking, like, wow, I have rights. Like, how cool. Nobody, had really before that told me, like, Eva, your rights matter, you have rights. I would say to Sandra, you have made such a difference in my life and helped me to find my voice and told me my voice matters. And I can't ever thank you enough for that.
She's had just a phenomenal impact on the lives of 12 children, and even though it's just me and my sister sitting here right now, that there's so much more of us that appreciate what she's done for our family.
This is something that we as an organization, and I think we as a community and as a province, need to know that young people can come out of adversity and out of trauma and be very successful people with the supports of the natural people around them.
If you have a concern and your concern is something that you don't think you can manage yourself, please call us to see if there's something that we can do to help.
The OCYA has been an incredible help in my life, in the lives of my family, my siblings. And if nothing, call and see the options you have and have someone in your corner. It's nice to have someone in your corner and have your voice heard.